How's it going, guys? It's Mr. Lone Wolf, and today I'm going to go and do another mission on Northport. Well, it's a contract called Floating Drill. I've got to go down to this warehouse in kind of the bottom corner and grab a pretty big, like, special objective trailer, cut back through the Devil's Mud. That's like the main point of this, and then yeah, follow the main road along. Once you're back out of like that Devil's Mud section, it's just down to the port, which is pretty simple. And yeah, I went and fetched the P16. I went and got it off Drummond Island. Took a little bit of messing around because I didn't have any of the bridges built, so I had to use it, well, not shortcuts, more like long cuts, cutting through the water and all sorts. But yeah, I grabbed it in the end. Obviously bringing a goddamn professional with me, because you never know when you need one of them. Might need spare tyres, spare fuel, or yeah, just repair points in general. But yeah, I mean, this is kind of one of the reasons I wanted to restart like another playthrough, is missions like this. And I remember when I took this trailer last time, I believe the first time I did it, I will be hitting the horn intermittently, by the way, because it's a goddamn beast. Yeah, I think I did this with the Navistar the first time. And obviously, yeah, once we get there, the main obstacles to get through is like that Devil's Mud section that I usually do in my review videos before I go off up into the snowy mountains. And then as you go further down the path, there's kind of like the road has a lot of camber to it, tips a lot to the right as I'm going to be heading to it on the left on the way back. And yeah, there is like a detour road that you can loop around that, yeah, it might be worth doing. I mean, the trailer's pretty massive, so cutting down that detour road would be a bit of a pain in the arse. Personally, I've not tried the detour road yet, because this is the second time I've ever done the mission. And yeah, the first time I went with the Navistar, but I did tip over when I did it with that. And yeah, I mean, two reasons I wanted to bring this is that I really like the P16 for multiple reasons. Not only is it like a pretty massive truck and it just feels pretty cool to drive on this game and that, but just overall, between like the tyres, which people have said, I believe these have got like the best stats on the P16, the best tyre stats in the game, which does make sense. And just overall, between the weight and the tyres and everything, it handles like a really nice truck. It feels more to the point, like quite realistic the way it behaves, which is more what I'm after in this game than just out and out like arcade levels of power, which I wouldn't really say anything's got that. But yeah, it's like, this isn't going to win any prizes for being the fastest truck or anything like that, but it's just, if you drive it yourself, yeah, it just feels really good. It's like got quite a lot of character to it, and feels pretty realistic. And then even in situations like this, cutting through this mud, to me, this is more how a truck like this would behave, I reckon. Like, a lot of trucks in this game weigh so little, there'd obviously be a hell of a lot of wheel spinning going on now. And that's not to say, like, I appreciate certain boggy mud sections you're going to be getting some wheel spinning, but you know what I mean? Like, the fact that this is just a big beastie truck that sinks itself into the ground and plants itself really well. Yeah, it's got the right amount of tyre grip to where it's not OP or anything. You can certainly still wheel spin on various sections. You'll see that in a little bit. But yeah, it's just enjoyable, like, cutting through here, even though we're well over halfway up the axles as far as the mud goes. And yeah, it just feels more how it should be. Apparently as well, I don't believe it's in Phase 2, I think it's going to be Phase 3. They're going to add like a custom login trailer for this P16, which will be pretty cool, because I've kind of forgot about them until I went on Mud Runner the other day. Again, I'm going to do some like some gameplay on Mud Runner pretty soon. But yeah, you can get login trailers on that when you activate it in the menu, the trailer kind of folds up in half and it loads it up onto the back of your truck. And I believe I said the other week that that like groove in the top of the cab on the P16, maybe it was for like a crane attachment that they never added. But yeah, I believe it is, because I've seen the video for it. In real life, that notch in the top of the P16 roof is for like its own login trailer that folds up. It kind of folds the big boom arm up or whatever, doubles it over, lies it along the roof, and then the wheels of the trailer just sit on the back of the P16, which is probably what that little frame is behind, like the saddle high thing. And yeah, it's like a way in real life that they don't have to tow an actual trailer with them to the site. Then it's kind of all folded up and loaded up on the back of the truck. And yeah, I believe they're going to be adding one for the P16, which will be pretty cool, because obviously the P16's a monster. It can only have saddle high stuff anyway, so I assume it's going to be a pretty sizable trailer. Can't leave that horn alone. But yeah, it should be pretty cool when they've added that. I mean, that's part of the reason why I'm enjoying these missions, going for all the special objective trailers, because it's just a pretty cool setup. And again, this P16 is pretty bloody well suited to doing this mission, just because it kind of makes sense when you see the size of the P16 next to the trailer. It just sort of, it all fits. That's what she said. And yeah, it sort of makes more sense. Like, I mean, the Navistar did pretty well, all things considered, because I didn't have it fully upgraded or anything back when I did this mission. And yeah, I did. I think I ended up tipping on the section coming up that you'll see as a bit of a troll. It's kind of been put there for a reason. I just drove past a road that was on the left that has a little sign saying detour, and that's your option. If you go and do this mission with one of the trucks that's a little bit iffy for tipping, then you definitely don't want to come this way. That's why I was looking down there. I had a vague memory of like there being an upgrade around here, so I was keeping my eyes out. I thought originally I was going to send the loaf down, but you'll see. Loaf's a professional. He knows what he's doing before I do. To the untrained eye, might look like he's tipped over, but he's just planning his next move. Yeah, when I got to this point, you can see just down on the beach at the bottom of the hill, there's like, looks like boxes with sort of a cover over them that's covered in snow, so I knew there was a upgrade thing near there. And yeah, the loaf's no trouble. He gets out of the way, scoots his way through the snow. He'll be back on his feet in no time. And then around here, you're going to kind of see, it's not really the P16's fault, this is more, like, you can only have these tyres on the P16, I have no option for chain tyres, and particularly, like, I'm driving on a snowy, icy rock at the minute, that really doesn't help the situation. And yeah, the other thing that doesn't help is all these rocks. So there's the Hummer H2 suspension, don't really need it these days if I'm on it, I've still not even rescued the Hummer. I'm sat right next to it with a twin steer, I will get it one day. Yeah, that tyre caught me out a little bit. But you can see now, like, the grip and that is kind of there, but it's doing what a lot of stuff does without chain, is just wheel spinning. Fortunately for me, got a goddamn loaf with me.
Are you flexing?
What, me? No. Why would I be flexing? I mean, I have sort of been hitting the gym, so if you wanted to see how it's going...
See? Just goddamn professional every time. That's why you always bring a loaf with you. You can't ever go wrong. It's a little mobile winch point. Like I said, a minute before that happened, he knew what he was doing. He laid on his side just so I'd push him down the hill a bit. He landed back on his wheels, and he was ready to rescue me after my little suspension scavenger mission. And we're off. Stick a winch on him. And yeah, keep following this path down here, and at the end there's like a warehouse, factory, whatever the hell it decides to call it on this game. And yeah, you'll find your trailer. But like I say, all stuff like relatively soft terrain like this, the wheels grip like amazingly well, the truck feels really good. Yeah, down there on the beach it was like worst case scenario, double worst case scenario, icy rocks and then actual like boulders and rocks everywhere, because no matter how much grip and everything else you got, when you try and drive over a rock it just naturally lifts your truck up off the ground. That's all your points of contact, all your grip, and that's the end of it. And yeah, you could kind of see as I was trying to get back up that icy rock, it was just, well, one, the weight all shifted, but it was my two rear right tyres that were just kind of on that rock, getting absolutely no grip. It had tipped my left ones in the air, so yeah, fortunately, I was a little professional on standby to save my bacon. And all things considered, the loaf gripped him pretty well. You would kind of think a P16 versus a loaf, and the loaf's got to pull the P16 uphill. You'd assume it'd, yeah, probably not fare too well, but digs in like a goddamn beauty. So anyway, this is the trailer we're going to be taking. This is one of my favourite trailers in the game. I remember doing this last time. I wish they'd had a lot more of these sort of trailers, or as somebody suggested, which is true, if you could just buy them from the trailer store, it'd be pretty cool. Gives you kind of some perspective with that little sideboard trailer in front of me. And yeah, even the P16 usually looks a monster compared to most things, but even when you pull up to this trailer, it, yeah, makes it look pretty small. That's definitely not what she said. Again, can't resist the horn. And yeah, now basically got to go back up the same path. You've seen near where I grabbed that suspension. Obviously the road tips a hell of a lot, so that's going to be one of the missions. But yeah, you can see that road kind of cutting round over the top. It's just the trailer is a bit of a monster, and I don't know how well it'll get around some of them corners. Well, the corners themselves aren't really going to be an issue, but no doubt this game has put unkillable trees right in the most awkward places possible. I'll show you a little later though. Another reason why I wanted to use a P16, and I used it on the special objective trailer that you have to get from Drummond Island and take back to Smithville, I think it was. And the amount of power and everything in the P16, you can wrench this trailer around and kind of, even if you get it caught on a wall or the edge of a bridge and all sorts like I did, this thing just absolutely motors its way through. I will say as well, just for the sakes of it with the gameplay and everything, I've only got the stock engine in this P16 at the minute, so there's still 2 engine upgrades to go beyond this. I nearly went and grabbed it, to be honest, but as I had a little drive around on this map with the P16, it was just feeling like it was doing perfectly well with the engine it's got. I can't remember off the top of my head with the middle engine, but the top engine, I believe it's on White Valley, and it's like, if you drove out the entrance from the garage and just go straight ahead over like the snow and mud to the lake, it's kind of along the left-hand edge of the lake. And yeah, like I say, I was considering grabbing it, but this thing was just doing fine without it, and I originally had to go from Smithville. Because I've not scouted a lot of these maps yet, I was kind of driving blind on a lot of it, and I know most of the maps pretty well. To be fair, Drummond Island is probably one of the ones that I know the least well. So, yeah, fortunately, trying to do that Cousin Cletus mission the other day, I kind of gave me a little refresher of the main kind of areas and routes across the map. But yeah, because I didn't have any of the bridges built, I had to cut across the water and kind of do a bit of a long lap round. But by the time I actually grabbed this P16, I was just too keen. I didn't want to then jump in another vehicle and drive all the way from Northport across Mountain River. I would have had to have gone, yeah, the long way round to White Valley, and then all the way down to the garage, and I was just like, nah, sod it. This thing's doing pretty damn well, pretty solidly. And yeah, this was the area where I tipped it with the Navistar, but I was leaning up against one of those trees, so I didn't fully tip. I could still start my engine and everything. And in fact, it might have been the Cat 745C. I believe I ended up bringing that down, driving that rock that's behind my trailer now. I believe I drove the Cat 745C up to the top of there, just because of its, like, sheer dead weight. And, yeah, I was able to, like, winch the trailer and the Navistar back up on its wheels, and I kind of walked them both along, so I kept the winch attached. And, yeah, just slowly crabbed my way forward, really, until I got out of this bit. By the time I got to here, I believe I had something parked on that side of the rock. I mean, it was definitely iffy, but that's the thing with this P16. This was a much better truck to take. It's got such a nice amount of weight to it, and it's like the truck itself sits pretty damn wide if you actually park it next to a lot of other stuff. And yeah, you can see the trailer's kind of wanting to go. If my truck was the sort of truck that wanted to tip as well, I think I still would have gone there, but yeah, the trailer, even that's not got enough kind of weight in it to fight against the P16 and take it with it, so I went through there pretty hassle-free. As you can see again, I spend most of my time just looking around enjoying the views. It's not just the thumbnails, it is kind of a good excuse to do it, but yeah, I like just driving along like this. I don't even really care where I'm going, I'm just looking around like, god damn, that was a nice view. A nice truck, a nice trailer, goddamn professional, towing along behind me. And again, I mean, I might have been in high then and it was dipping down in the revs, but yeah, it's the stock engine, so I'll give it a break. So that's the other side of that road, the detour, so if I did cut round that way, that's what I'd avoid, all that tippy section. But yeah, I'd absolutely recommend just leave this mission, if you can then, until you go and get the P16, because it handled this like a beast. I'd be interested to see what the club, well, either clubs really, or both, behave. If I'm honest, I still think the P16 would do better in this sort of situation, because the club, even though it's got a lot of tyres, a lot of grip, it's obviously got all-wheel drive, and if you get the flat nose one, you can, diffs are always on. If you got the long nose one, you have to put it in low range for the diffs, but it's not got a hell of a lot of ground clearance really, and when you're driving along some of these sections, even now I think the club, like its sort of chin, will be pretty close to scraping all the mud anyway, especially when you go through that Devil's Mud section. That'll really catch it out. So I don't think they do terribly, but yeah, I think once you get beyond a certain like softness of terrain, that they don't fare too well. I think there, by the way, it's one of those bloody tree branches catching on the trailer. It stops me dead. Tree branches are OP as all hell in this game. And yeah, we're going a bit slow now. By the way, my fuel went down quite a lot because I was making something to eat while I was at the warehouse. I don't know if anyone else notices. It's caught me out a few times. It caught me out again, funnily enough, the other day on that when I was attempting to do that Cousin Cletus mission. I paused the game, and then when I came back and you unpause the game, it's like, even though it's paused the game and it seems to pause the time and everything else, it allows your engine to keep running, so you get back and it's like, oh, for fuck's sake, I've just lost like 100 litres. Not even nothing. But again, that's part of the reason why bring a little horse of a vehicle with me with the roof rack. So I wasn't really worried at this point about that. You see, just sections like this, to me this looks and feels and behaves like a truck should. I don't think a truck would just be, you know, lighting its wheels. Obviously if you're in the wrong gear and all the rest of it, but you're talking off-road stuff with like special off-road gearboxes or advanced special whatever, and you can drop it in low range. Yeah, it's just, I remember watching some Ford, it was like a Jeep or something the other week on a YouTube video, and the dude drove up, like, it was damn near a vertical bloody hill. I don't even know how he managed it, but it just kind of shows you that, yeah, they can, like, a lot of off-road stuff can surprise you and shock you really with how well they can dig in and grip, if you've got the right setup, obviously the right tyres, the right gearing and all the rest of it. But yeah, that's what this game needs more of. More options to like conquer the terrain rather than, as I've said before, sort of limp limp through it and wing your way past. To back it up, too deep in a wet hole. Not the first time. Fingers crossed it won't be the last. But again though, it got out of there pretty nicely, there's no real issues. This just shows you though, cutting through here, this is like, I'm still not saying at all that the P16 needs all-wheel drive. I believe, I could be wrong on this, but I believe the trucks in real life don't have all-wheel drive. I think it is just the rears. But yeah, like you can, obviously I'm getting power from the rear wheels. You can see the front wheels, they're doing pretty well considering, I think they're 57-inch wheels and they're damn near buried. But every now and then they almost, like, they're not spinning at the same speed as I'm moving along, if that makes sense. So they're acting just, yeah, like, they're making no effort of their own to climb back out of the mud. At least if they were spinning in the same direction as I'm going, they would always naturally want to be trying to climb up the mud or cut through it. Whereas now, like I say, I'm pushing from the back, but the yeah, the front's just, there's nothing to it, so it's just going to keep cutting deeper into the terrain until you kind of, I don't know, I assume under this mud is essentially like solid terrain. And it's getting a bit slow now. I believe, to be honest, if I sat there like wiggling the steering left and right, I also went out to back up the first time out this Devil's Mud section. If I'd approached this section and I'd stayed over to the right more and kept the trailer like nice and over to the right, I could have cut along the edge a lot better, but because I kind of went to enter from the middle, that's what she said, and then I reversed up and then went to the right, like the rear end of my trailer was still more over to the middle of the like the road, and then now because the road's slowly bending round to the left, it's like as I'm cutting across, it's just I've already given the trailer a reason to like not follow me along the edge. It's trying to sort of, yeah, just take the shortest route and cut across the middle, so it's cutting through all the deep stuff, and it's kind of forced me to sort of cut through a bit deeper. You can see now I'm trying to steer my front over to the shallower side. You can see there the trailer's like more over to the right of where I am, because it's kind of, as I'm slowly going around the left bend, it's kind of cutting in. You can see the goddamn professional behind me. That's another thing though with the P16 and various trucks that I use. This thing doesn't notice whether you're towing a little loaf behind you or not, so it's not one of them. It doesn't hold you back, it doesn't slow you down or anything like that, so there's no negative to using it. And yeah, I'm pretty much out the other side now. It's all but done. Just have to give it a little bit of wiggly steering. Again. Can't get enough of that horn. See the loaf's about halfway up. Cutting a nice little channel through the mud though. I notice this now, again I will just say I've got the stock engine, but I've never really seen the P16 do that before, where I was, like, I'm in auto now and I'm flooring it, and there wasn't even any drive to the wheels at all. And then put it back in low range and it was ticking along quite nicely. I do believe overall though, the low range, like the advanced special and the special gearboxes, as far as, I don't want to use them all the time because I like picking up a nice bit of speed across the maps, but for off-road type sections and all the rest of it, they are a pretty solid, well-balanced gearbox in this game. And yeah, we've come out of there. I tried to go wide. I might have left it a bit late, I don't know, but again, Lone Wolf delivers. We don't worry about the state of your cargo when it gets there. I'm convinced them little road signs just killed themselves early, tried to frame me for it. Done professional. Hops the barrier and we're away. At least I've not got my trailer parked in the way of the road at the minute. But yeah, we're almost there now. That was like the main section really, getting past that Devil's Mud again. I was just saving the footage, just to make sure I didn't kind of lose some of it. And I wanted to have a little look at the trailer. It's pretty cool that it's got 5 lots of axles on it. But you can see that axle nearest to the P16. It's kind of like, because it's so far forward, when you're going over the brow of a hill like that, it made all the other 4 axles like lift off the ground. And that was no issue at all in the P16. That's just one of the nice things about it. It absolutely, it's just between the torque and everything else, it just, the trailer doesn't really have much say in the situation. But yeah, with some of the trucks, that kind of thing happening could bite you in some situations. Still looking now, thinking, God, is it going to fit? That's definitely what she said. It was a good job it did. It's a close one though. Give the bridge a little slap. Let it know we're coming across. Yeah, it looks pretty cool though. Only just makes it the loaf. Skims the edge of the bridge. Now we're on the home straight. But yeah, overall, I mean, it was a fun mission to do. This is. You'll see when I get down to like where I've got to drop this trailer off. I basically wait until it says save in game, and I cache the trailer in just to show like you guys and myself the completing the mission. But yeah, I quickly then saved it, restarted the game, and loaded it back up to where I've still got this trailer because I don't really want to cache it in and give it away. Like, I'm not too arsed about the mission. I know there's a bit of an XP I'm missing out on, but I can go and do like 1 or 2 food delivery contests or something on Black River and I'll be alright. But yeah, I'd rather have the chance of motoring around with this trailer, and at least on what am I on, like Alaska, I can take it Northport, I can go to Mountain River, White Valley, Pedro Bay, all the rest of it. I know there is a few other trailers on those maps, but the more the merrier. Apologies, there's a little glitch there. One last little blast of the horn, and yeah, you can see I was just waiting for it to save. Just enough fuel, we're in the red, but we're all good. Yeah, actually promoted me for that one, but it's not a hell of a lot of XP. It's not like 1,000 or anything like that. So yeah, it won't be too hard to replace. But that's it, cleaned up all the junk, apparently. It's pretty cool junk. Yeah, reloaded it, got my trailer back, and I'm going to go and park it now at the port. But I only left this last bit in because I was just going to show you. I knew I wouldn't make this corner, but if I drive into that box, it would automatically take the trailer off me, so I had to take this corner too tight, basically. But I just wanted to show you, this is what I like. And again, this is only the stock engine. But it's got the muscle, it's got the power to basically force, yeah, like levers the back end of the trailer around to drop it in low, but it's fair enough, that's not a problem. Again, there's a tiny little glitch there, apologies for that, but I didn't have to stop, I didn't have to reverse, I just kept it pinned, dropped it in low, and it muscled the trailer all the way around. And when I brought that trailer back from yeah, the port at Drummond Island to Smithville or whatever, I got it caught on like the bridge. I was cutting across corners and having to like wrench the trailer up over some pretty steep little mounds of mud and all the rest of it, and it like nailed all of it. No issues whatsoever. So job done, trailer secured. It's goddamn professional, helping along. Nice little thumbnail. Had to let the loaf have a go. He can handle it. He's trailer trained, loaf trained. Goddamn horse of a vehicle. Anyway, that's about it for today though. I hope you've enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Thanks to my Patreon members, and I'll be back soon.